So before we start the actual video, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked yet, it's very simple. If you've got a Gmail account, you can subscribe. Easy as that. It helps me out. A few people have suggested like how you do your thumbnails and that. So I'm going to give you a pretty easy tutorial, and this is going to be specific towards Photoshop. I have Photoshop. I pay for it legitimately. A whole range of ways. You can get older versions for free, whatever. First thing we want to do, we want to open a new document, okay? And it's going to be 1920 by 1080. That is pretty much the best of the best. I don't really change any other settings. So this is what you're going to have. It's just a blank canvas. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to import an image. So I'm going to be doing a thumbnail for my Fortnite video, okay? Okay, so there's two ways you can actually put images into Photoshop. The first would just be going to your desktop, grabbing them, putting them on like this, or you can just like go into your file and then drag it from your desktop into it like that. Okay, so we've got two images here. This is the game screenshot and also the screenshot of me. Control T means transform, and you want to Shift Alt, and then you'll be able to do it from the center. Otherwise, if you don't press Alt, you'll just be doing it from the corner, okay? So to make it sure it's like dead center, you want to Control T and then Shift Alt and then go all the way out. I always go a little bit over the edges just in case. The background image that we've got, this is what we're going to be working with. I did actually edit this a little bit on Vegas, so it's warped a little bit. Basically, you can see we've got the main image here. So I'm going to be cropping this out, and a lot of people like to do the white thing around the person's face. Me, I don't really like that, that's not my style, but you can do that absolutely if you want. It's all in the blending options. All the magic happens in the blending options, okay? Very simple, easy technique, okay? So first, there's two ways you can actually crop out somebody. The first is using the quick selection tool. All right, so the way I like to do it is to use the pen tool or even at least the lasso. So I'm gonna quickly go around using the pen tool, and pretty much the pen tool, you just click and go around like this. I'm going around his hair right here, on my hair. And then I go like a big jump like this and it goes straight. You need to click and then drag the mouse to make a curve like that. I'll just do it again. We're going around a little house and then we wanna make a big curve and then we wanna go straight. We don't want this curve here. How do you get rid of that? Well, click on your Alt and then click on the last point like that. It will get rid of that and then you can go straight again. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna go around the guy now and do a little outline. Quickly, once you've gone around the whole thing, you want to right click and you'll go make selection. Now, if you've used the quick selection tool, you might have to select inverse. Otherwise, you'll be selecting not the guy. You'll be selecting this bit and not this bit. A lot of people just straight up just cut it, but then it makes like, you can see it does like 1 pixel around the whole thing. So I would not recommend cutting it. I would recommend copying it. That way it doesn't get rid of the 1 pixel and you still have the full image like this. It doesn't look great there, that's absolutely fine, but we are going to be keeping the background image. We're not going to be straight up just cropping it. You can do that if you want. Depends, it's all about your own style. Now look, I've obviously gone around that very quickly, so it looks pretty bad, but we're going to be just doing a very quick blending style. I do this on every single one of my videos. I do a drop shadow really closely that it just makes a little drop shadow. Now, you can't really see it from, well, you can actually. You can see it from a little bit, but we want to make it a bit more prominent. So we're going to just up it a little bit like that. That looks a bit better. So now he stands out. He pops out just that little bit, okay? Now, what you can do, which is what a lot of people do, they seem to add a stroke. Now you can adjust this to how much you want. Make sure it's selected outside as well. And you want to put this as white, okay? So now it goes a little nice stroke around him, okay? Makes him pop out a lot more, but it depends if you like the stroke. I think the stroke is a little bit more cartoony. If that's what you're aiming for, go for it. But I like just the nice drop shadow. For me, personally, that's what I'm gonna choose. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is actually move this over and make this a little bit bigger. So now he's on, the person is actually on the left side. He's like this, he's not in the dead central, because I want to be putting text on my thumbnails. So if he's in dead central, it's hard. I'm gonna have to split up the two texts, or I'll shift them over and make just text here. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna just make this second one overlay, and that way you can actually see the background image. Make this a little bit bigger and flip it over. We're actually gonna make it a lot bigger so you actually see the victory royale. And that's how you can do it. Now remember, you can actually still have the stroke on if you want. If you prefer that style, that's fine. Okay, so that's that. The next thing I'm gonna be doing is just text, straight up text. Depends completely on your style. Bebas is very good font to have. and you can just say anything like, now it depends obviously on the style again. My style is not many words in my thumbnail, not too much going on, but it looks nice and clean. So you can go like this. Now obviously that doesn't look great, that's fine. Completely understand that doesn't look great. I'm going to be doing a few blending options on this. You can follow me if you want. First thing is a drop shadow. This obviously pops it out a little bit. Second thing is a color overlay. Now this looks pretty nice already. That looks pretty clean right there. You can see that from a long distance away. For me, it's just not enough. I need more than that. So I like to just do a color overlay and do like a just a nice kind of like a gray kind of color overlay, and then you put an inner glow in it. So I'll show you in a minute. See, it looks kind of nicer. Now it looks kind of cool. So how do you apply it? Well, you right click on the win, copy layer style, and then paste it. Very simple. Now that looks pretty nice already. Okay, so the next thing that I like to do in every single one of mine is to copy these. How do you copy? You can right click copy, or you can Control J, that's for copy. And then what I like to do is combine two layers, and to do that is Control E, and it combines it into one whole layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control T, which is transform, and I'm going to Shift Alt, so it resizes from the middle and keeps the aspect ratio, and then just resize it up a little bit. Press Enter, bring the opacity down a little bit to wherever you want, and then I'm going to add a little bit of a motion blur, horizontal motion blur. So it looks kind of nice. Now it's kind of come to my attention, you can't actually see the victory royale, so I might just like put it over a little bit so you can actually see it. It's still missing something though. So what is it missing? It's missing a warp text. That's what we need to put on. Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna keep like that. That's cool. So now this looks cool. It looks pretty nice. That's basically your thumbnail. If you want to take it a step further, you can start to add filters, filter gallery, mess with all that kind of stuff. You can add RGB effects, glitch effects. You can really go in and make a thumbnail and artwork. But if you just want to do like a simple thumbnail that is easy to read and people are going to click on, this is the way to go about it. You can completely change everything. But if you want to fully go into it, you know, I'll just give you a quick example of what I like to do. First thing is I completely just make a whole copy of everything I've done, and I group it up, and then I just get rid of it. And then that means I've got a backup option, so I'm able to go back and edit it if I want. Double click on it, and then see these channels in advanced blending. You click off the R and the G for one of them, go down to the second one and click off B and G, so it's just R. And then if you go in close or zoom up, make sure you're on the move tool, go up to the first layer and then go right, maybe, depend, you can just use the arrow keys, okay? You can completely move it like this. It looks pretty freaky crazy if you do it like that. But if you go move it right twice, 2 or 3 times, go down to the second layer, go left 2 or 3 times. That gives it a very, very subtle RGB effect. You can't see it unless you go really close, but from a distance, it kind of gives it a little bit of weirdness, a bit of edginess. Now you can do this even more if you wanted to, so it's more visible from a distance. All up to you again. And then you can go on to do things like filter galleries, which is completely customizable towards you. But look, that's pretty much it. This is how you do it. This is a quick template. If you want to save your images, I would recommend saving it JPEG, because if you're doing a lot of editing, a lot of effects, it's going to make the file size go up. And I think it's like 2.2 megabytes is the maximum for a YouTube thumbnail. So you go File, Save As, and you go down to your file location. We'll just go to Desktop, go JPEG, and you can name it whatever you want, doesn't matter. And you can see here the slider. Now if you go maximum, it'll be like 4 megabytes if you do a lot of effect, until it's like under like 1.5 megs, and then you should be good. If you want to see more of these, then hit the subscribe button. So yeah, thanks for watching again guys, appreciate all the support that we've been getting, and yeah.